Then I went back and reviewed some of the limitations of the litigation privilege, and I realized Lively may have made a big mistake.
Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, will be deposed, and I suspect that might be making Ryan Reynolds extremely nervous.
Hugh Jackman appears to be tied with all of this. We have Bradley Cooper, who Blake Lively thanked in the credits for It Ends With Us, seems to be involved in all of this.
Picture a couple once celebrated as the epitome of charm and comedic ease, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. They lit up red carpets, bantered online like inseparable best friends sharing inside jokes with the world, and seemed impervious to the Hollywood storms that topple so many high-profile marriages. Yet beneath the glitter and witty social media persona, a far more complicated story is emerging, one tangled in contradictory legal maneuvers, questionable alliances, potential hush money, and a labyrinth of behind-the-scenes power plays. How did two actors known for lighthearted humor and philanthropic gestures become the center of a legal maelstrom that has left even the most devoted fans shocked? Rumors swirl of secret recordings disappearing, star-studded text messages never seen by a court, and a tangled web of decisions that challenge the picture-perfect image the public has long adored.
It felt almost like nervously so from her team of how much that clearly was the most important thing for them.
A swirl of accusations keeps twisting the narrative about who's truly the victim. For years, the duo seemed untouchable, Ryan delivering jokes, Blake radiating modern-style icon energy. But now, even seasoned industry insiders can't ignore the signs that something beneath the surface is seriously amiss.
There are a number of high-profile celebrities outside of Blake and Ryan Reynolds that will be dragged into this, and there may be some discovery that gets dragged up that is linked to that.
Rumor has it the pair allegedly tried to manipulate entire press campaigns, overshadow co-stars, and pull strings at agencies to blacklist perceived rivals. Meanwhile, the public illusions they carefully crafted are slowly unraveling with each new revelation. The stakes are enormous. Their entire brand, plus the reputations of every actor, producer, or power broker caught in the crossfire. This meltdown, if that's what we call it, goes far beyond a petty squabble or a typical contract dispute. It involves questionable evidence mysteriously vanishing, controversial podcasts, and at least one prominent figure, Justin Baldoni, claiming he was dragged unwillingly into the fray. At the center stands Blake Lively, once seemingly untouchable, now enmeshed in contradictory testimonies and whispers of alleged cunning, while Ryan Reynolds faces the reality that his comedic charm might not shield him from the intense glare of suspicion.
I don't know how much is going to come through in the transcript that can be read now, but audibly, because we were able to call in to that hearing and listen to it, there did seem to be a lot of stress and a lot of tension, particularly when it came to those.
It's the kind of real-life soap opera that no talk show chatter can sugarcoat. No family-friendly ad can hide, and the pressing question lingers. Can they weather this storm, or have they triggered their own downfall by believing themselves untouchable?
Now they're going to have to prove that, and we'll have to see how much of what they share is going to be considered attorney's eyes only, or was it all BS?
From the very start, what seemed like a minor legal dispute quickly morphed into a sprawling saga that no one could ignore. Blake Lively, long celebrated for her poise on the red carpet and memorable film roles, stepped into a legal fray that initially felt almost trivial against the daily deluge of celebrity news. Early on, fans dismissed it as another contractual tangle, yet once complaints and responses became public, it was obvious this was no ordinary disagreement. On the surface, Blake hinted at serious wrongdoing by another party, allegations strong enough to dominate headlines if proven credible. Almost immediately, murmurs circulated about the evidence itself. Many who examined the filings noted they were laden with rhetorical flourishes, reading more like press releases than concise legal arguments. Within the typically stoic legal community, such theatrics raised eyebrows. Without solid factual proof, claims risked appearing designed more to sway public opinion than to prevail in court. As details emerged, one name kept surfacing: Justin Baldoni. Known for his positive public persona, Baldoni suddenly found himself entangled in the crosshairs, prompting widespread questions about his connection to Blake's escalating situation. Rumors suggested friction between him and Blake, possibly involving Ryan Reynolds, on a project that allegedly ended with behind-the-scenes maneuvers to edge him out. Speculation mounted that the lawsuit could be a smokescreen to deflect blame if those maneuvers were revealed. Early signs pointed to a tangled web of alliances, grudges, and calculated strategies, transforming what was billed as a small legal matter into something far more orchestrated. Amid the chaos, Ryan Reynolds' role became a topic of debate. Did he fully endorse Blake's combative strategy, or was he quietly apprehensive, sensing that the growing fiasco could taint the comedic brand he meticulously cultivated? Some fans argued that Blake's aggressive legal approach was meant to shield him from potential fallout. Others speculated it was a joint effort to stifle perceived competition. Regardless, the meltdown had been ignited and the smoke thickened, sparking questions about how far the couple might go to preserve their carefully curated public image. Closer examination of the filings revealed an ever-shifting narrative. Each new piece of evidence seemed to alter the tone of the case, heightening confusion. At one point, Blake's legal team claimed a critical video existed that would destroy the opposing side's credibility. Yet when the footage surfaced, it allegedly depicted Blake appearing entirely at ease, contradicting her tearful on-camera portrayal. Observers were left to wonder whether she misremembered the events, or if the portrayal was deliberately adjusted to elicit sympathy. What started as a minor legal confrontation rapidly unfolded into a labyrinth of contradictions, public scrutiny, and tangled relationships. Allegations, rumors, and shifting evidence blurred the lines between perception and reality, leaving the public questioning who is truly at fault, what was performative, and how much of the saga reflected genuine grievance versus calculated strategy. Blake Lively's carefully maintained image collided headfirst with a volatile, often contradictory record of legal filings, creating a spectacle that transformed a seemingly routine dispute into a cultural moment in which behind-the-scenes power plays, fragile reputations, and unanswered questions dominated every headline. The case, now a nexus of public fascination, underscored how even the most polished stars can find themselves ensnared in a narrative far larger than intended. What appeared simple at first, an isolated legal issue, revealed itself to be a layered, sprawling story, full of intrigue, missteps, and the precarious balancing act between celebrity persona and private reality. The unfolding saga left fans and observers alike reconsidering every assumption about the couple, illustrating that in Hollywood, no facade remains untested for long. From the outset, what appeared to be a routine legal misstep rapidly spiraled into a full-blown spectacle, fueled by repeated shifts in narrative that began to overshadow the case itself. Social media erupted, dubbing the proceedings the meltdown, as fans who had once blindly supported Blake Lively grew skeptical. Meanwhile, those who initially dismissed the entire affair as a money grab started to suspect a more sinister, well-orchestrated effort to confuse the public and obscure the truth. That strategy quickly faltered once a stern judge entered the picture, flagging the contradictions in Blake's testimony and openly questioning whether the proceedings were being used more for publicity than justice. Courtroom reports described a tense, frosty atmosphere, with lawyers for the opposing side eagerly pointing to every alteration in Blake's story as evidence of artificially inflated drama. The judge, unimpressed, warned that anyone caught misrepresenting or forging evidence could face severe consequences, from perjury charges to outright dismissal of their claims. Any attempt to manipulate public perception through emotional testimony now risked backfiring spectacularly, as credibility is paramount in a system grounded in clear, verifiable evidence. The situation escalated from surprising to downright bizarre, with rumors of hush money and missing podcasts entering the narrative. One explosive allegation claimed that payments were so substantial that entire episodes of a widely influential podcast were allegedly erased to suppress certain revelations. Skepticism was widespread, but many observers remembered prior instances where high-profile stories mysteriously disappeared from streaming platforms, giving the rumor credence. Among the purportedly removed content was an audio snippet featuring a major agent, A.R. Emanuel, allegedly admitting that blacklisting had been used to exclude someone from significant projects. If true, this suggested that Blake and Ryan Reynolds possessed the kind of influence over industry rosters that critics had long suspected. Within days, What had started as a minor dispute evolved into questions of potential industry corruption. Though no official confirmation of the hush money or deleted content emerged, the existence of the rumors reinforced the perception that the meltdown might extend into shadowy efforts to suppress inconvenient truths. Reports surfaced that individuals with even peripheral involvement had been approached by friends of Blake to remain silent or to offer more favorable coverage, while certain blogs initially critical of the couple abruptly toned down their commentary. Even without definitive evidence, the pattern suggested that the duo's influence might stretch further than previously imagined. Meanwhile, the meltdown's momentum soared, eclipsing the comedic brand that had once made Blake and Ryan universal fan favorites. The next turning point came when Justin Baldoni, typically mild-mannered and positivity-driven, subtly acknowledged the fiasco. Known for avoiding public drama, his cautious comments hinted at the extraordinary scale of the situation. If rumors were accurate, Baldoni had initially been portrayed by the couple's camp as an antagonist, only to later realize that the entire meltdown might have been orchestrated by Blake and Ryan themselves. Over time, he reportedly observed the situation evolve from rumor to confirmed contradictions, culminating in a fiasco that dwarfed any typical lawsuit. His reaction was interpreted as a quiet validation that the meltdown was real, not merely the product of fan speculation. Observers suggested that Baldoni might recognize echoes of his own past experiences with behind-the-scenes manipulation, twisted allegations, and potential hush payments. Though he refrained from a public rant, those close to him noted a palpable disappointment, as if someone who once trusted in the comedic brand realized it might have been constructed on illusions and intimidation. Some fans even began calling him the meltdown's moral compass, highlighting the contrast between his grounded response and the questionable methods of the couple. Parallel legal observers noted that if Baldoni had indeed been marginalized or blackballed in prior dealings, he could emerge as a crucial voice capable of exposing how Blake and Ryan operated behind closed doors. As the meltdown intensified and approached the possibility of open court testimony, any words from him had the potential to dismantle the couple's carefully maintained public image. Each hour brought more intrigue, especially with a respected actor like Baldoni signaling that something had gone seriously awry. The attention of the public, already captivated, grew nearly unstoppable, amplifying the stakes of the case far beyond a typical celebrity dispute. The situation reached a critical juncture when the presiding judge, reportedly unimpressed by celebrity theatrics, began scrutinizing Blake's shifting stories with renewed intensity. Each time she altered her version of events, the court demanded clarification, pressing harder when specifics failed to align. Investigations into key pieces of evidence revealed that some appeared doctored or exaggerated, prompting the judge to openly question whether the entire meltdown was less a legal dispute and more a carefully orchestrated PR stunt. The courtroom's atmosphere reportedly grew tense, with opposing counsel seizing on inconsistencies to challenge the credibility of the couple's claims. Any attempt to manipulate narrative perception through emotionally charged testimony risked catastrophic repercussions. Observers noted that credibility in this arena is critical. A single instance of misrepresentation can unravel even the most meticulously crafted public persona, and repeated contradictions only compound the problem. The alleged hush money, deleted podcast episodes, and behind-the-scenes influence further amplified the perception that the meltdown extended far beyond personal disputes into a web of professional power plays and potential ethical violations. Even without definitive proof, the mere pattern of behavior left fans, journalists, and legal watchers questioning the integrity of the couple's actions and the legitimacy of their claims. In parallel, social media served as both courtroom and press office, documenting every shift in narrative, rumor, and revelation in real time. Observers dissected filings, screenshots, and public statements with meticulous attention, amplifying contradictions and feeding the sense that nothing about the meltdown was ordinary. The combination of legal scrutiny, public curiosity, and hints of hush money or manipulated evidence created a perfect storm, ensuring that this saga would dominate attention far beyond the courtroom walls. By the time Baldoni and other peripheral figures began signaling concern, the meltdown had evolved into a multi-layered spectacle where questions of credibility, influence, and ethics converged, Ultimately, what began as a minor slip in a celebrity lawsuit morphed into a cautionary tale of influence, reputation, and unchecked power. Every contradictory filing, rumor, and alleged cover-up deepened the complexity of the case. The involvement of actors like Baldoni, the scrutiny of the judiciary, and the persistent online attention ensured that the meltdown became more than a celebrity headline. It became a sprawling narrative about trust, accountability, and the consequences of mismanaging both public perception and private actions in the high-stakes world of Hollywood. With each new hearing, fans witnessed a rare spectacle, a star's carefully curated comedic persona unraveling under the scrutiny of the courtroom. The meltdown transformed into a stage where illusions were systematically undone. Observers noted how the judge meticulously highlighted every contradiction, while Blake Lively's narrative soared, overshadowing typical celebrity controversies. At one hearing, she attempted to pivot, tearfully claiming co-stars had forced her into uncomfortable scenes, but an uncut video showed her performing with ease, entirely at odds with her tearful recounting. Tabloids had a field day, plastering headlines like "Blake's damning video contradiction exposed." Even more surreal, attorneys described her sprawling 180-page complaint as a strategy to mask a lack of substantive evidence beneath a torrent of words. The meltdown fueled rampant speculation about hush money. Observers wondered how the couple could hope to maintain control, but the judge proved no audience for theatrics. Official transcripts revealed the court repeatedly denied Blake special privileges, such as restricting discovery materials from the defense, which might have concealed damaging secrets about her, Ryan Reynolds, or other high-profile associates. The narrative's momentum only grew, as did public suspicion. If they had so much to hide, what exactly were they afraid of? While Blake dominated headlines, Ryan's comedic brand suffered quietly in the background. His sarcastic, lighthearted persona had long dazzled fans, but now he faced navigating a spouse's meltdown entangled in legal maneuvers, hush money rumors, and potential AI-generated audio or text manipulations. Reports suggested he tried to influence coverage behind the scenes, calling in favors with media outlets or encouraging friendly voices to portray the meltdown as an unfortunate misunderstanding. Yet the situation was too large to contain. Ryan appeared trapped. Publicly defending Blake risked tying his comedic reputation to legally dubious claims. Distancing himself risked appearing heartless or tacitly confirming the scandal. Some fans noted his reduction in comedic tweets and talk show appearances, while others observed awkwardly forced jokes in interviews as he dodged questions about the meltdown. The tension threatened to overshadow any attempt to maintain his lighthearted brand. Deadpool 3 could succeed commercially, yet if constantly overshadowed by the meltdown, it might not deliver the triumphant comedic victory Ryan had hoped for. The swirling rumors of hush money only added fuel to the fire, reinforcing suspicions that the couple had something significant to conceal. Among the most explosive aspects were mentions of text messages between Blake, Ryan, and potentially other major stars like Taylor Swift. Allegedly, these texts could reveal planning behind the meltdown, blacklisting tactics, hush money arrangements, or instructions about manipulating evidence, a potential goldmine for meltdown watchers. These communications represented the so-called Holy Grail of proof, suggesting that the comedic duo's public brand masked calculated ambition and ruthless strategy. The story grew more intense when media reported Blake's legal team sought to keep those texts sealed or redacted. Observers argued that if the messages helped her case, there would be no reason to hide them, implying the documents might contain evidence of wrongdoing. High-profile stars within their network, like Swift, reportedly feared being dragged into the meltdown, concerned about reputational fallout. The scandal threatened to implicate not just one comedic couple but an entire circle of elite celebrities. Rumors suggested that even normally cooperative stars were quietly alarmed by the possibility that depositions or cross-examinations could expose damaging messages about controlling promotional campaigns or orchestrating leaks to undermine competitors. If the meltdown continued and the judge demanded comprehensive phone and message examinations, alliances could shift and relationships could fracture. The gravitational pull of the meltdown was strong enough to warp entire networks, leaving even Blake's closest celebrity friends uneasy at how far the situation had escalated. No one watching could ignore the implications. This was more than a personal dispute or a PR nightmare. It was a legal and cultural storm threatening to redefine reputations and unravel careers. The courtroom scrutiny, combined with relentless media coverage and the specter of hidden messages, ensured that the meltdown would continue shaping public perception, leaving fans, insiders, and fellow celebrities alike questioning how far influence, ambition, and secrecy had reached in this spiraling spectacle.